Who here has ever given a speech? Everybody. Well, who here would like to hear a terrific, awesome, wondrous, inspiring speech evaluation after you've given your speech? Mr. Toastmaster, Speakeasy Toastmasters, and guests, I have heard a lot of speech evaluations over the years, and I have read a number of articles about effective speech evaluations. And today, I would like to share with you my observations on what I think are 5 habits that you could include in your speech evaluations. First, focus out. Remember that your focus as a speech evaluator is out on the speaker and the speech. When you're giving your speech evaluation, on the speaker and the speech. Common symptoms that might show up while you're giving your speech evaluation that show you're not focusing out might be you tell a joke during your speech evaluation. Or you might make some comment about the veracity of the speech. Yeah, I didn't believe it. You might tell an anecdote during your speech evaluation. Gosh, Mike, that was such a terrific speech about New York City. It reminds me of last summer when I took the family to New York. We saw hair. We toured Central Park. It was an awesome... Oh, but back to your speech. You might say out loud something like, gosh, I'm really nervous today. Or, bear with me, this is my very first speech evaluation. You might say something like, gosh, this guy is really such an obvious, excellent, experienced speech evaluator. Well, don't say that unless you really have a point to go with that particular comment. One thing I hear a lot is, wow, that was an awesome speech. And I can't think of a single thing to say about how you can improve your next speech. There are always things to suggest for improvement. And the one that I like is stating, wow, this was such an experienced, great speaker that I'm just going to skip right on by everything that he did really well, and I'm going to hone right in on suggestions for improvements. Don't shortchange your audience and the speaker. Talk about strengths. Secondly, meet the speaker at the speaker's level. An icebreaker evaluation is not going to be the same as an evaluation for, say, the ACE speech and the CC manual. They're going to be different. One thing to watch out for is comparing someone in the club who is giving their 5th speech out of the CC manual, and last week someone else gave their 5th speech, and you compare the two. Don't have a preconceived idea about what the skill level is of the speaker. Just because they're giving their 35th advanced manual speech, don't have a preconceived notion. Meet them as they are. And I didn't actually check with Lisa before I came up with this analogy, so bear with me. Let's say that due to background and experience, a brand new Toastmaster gets on the elevator at floor number 4 and gets off the elevator as a distinguished Toastmaster at floor number 44. A second brand new Toastmaster may get on the elevator at floor number 25 and get off the elevator as a distinguished Toastmaster at floor number 51. And a third brand new Toastmaster, due to background and experience, may get on the elevator at floor number 60 and get off the elevator as a distinguished Toastmaster at floor number 70. We all have different skills. We have different rates of learning. We have different levels of proficiency. Remember that the speech evaluator needs to meet the speaker at their level. Third, your speech evaluation needs to have an organization plan. A speech evaluation is a mini speech. It's 2 to 3 minutes. Actually, in the speech evaluator's contest, it's 1.5 to 3.5 minutes. Be aware of your time limits. decide what approach you're going to use to evaluate. There are different approaches. You can look them up. Sandwich approach, or a manual approach, or a narrative approach. Decide what approach you're going to use. Then, make notes during the speech in the manner that's consistent with the organization that you're going to use to evaluate. Remember, your oral evaluation is different from your written evaluation. They will not be the same. The speaker will get 2 evaluations from you. The oral one that's presented in 1.5 minutes to 3.5 minutes, and the huge 8.5 by 11 with 14 questions written evaluation. They're going to be different. I can't stress this enough. There are always improvements to suggest in every speech. And for your speech evaluation, please remember, have a hook at the front end, just as you would with a speech. Have a big bang at the back end, as you would with a speech. So for example, if you just heard an informational speech about hybrid cars, and you stood up, your introduction might say something like, "What a speech about hybrid automobiles. I'm convinced, aren't you?" And then at the back end, when you're concluding, you might say, "Mike, what a terrific speech about hybrids. I'm out there and shopping for them next week." Remember, hook and bang. Fourth, when you're evaluating, evaluate the delivery skills of the speaker, not the content of the speech. You only have 3.5 minutes. And in the judging of evaluations, in the evaluations contest, 40% of your grade as a speech evaluator is based on how you analyze the speech. 40% out of 100%. 40% is on your analysis. Your analysis should evaluate both strengths and weaknesses that you note during the speech. And then your recommendations should address those weaknesses that you find in the speech. Your recommendations should be practical and helpful. After all, you want to enable the speaker to improve their next speech. A little short notation for that would be make meaningful suggestions that have achievable results. Meaningful suggestions for achievable results. And illustrate your recommendations. If you tell someone that they need to step in to emphasize, step in to emphasize. Whatever your suggestion is, illustrate it. If you're talking about how they could have said something differently to improve it, provide them with a suggestive wording. Just don't comment, give the illustration. You need to be sensitive to the speaker. You don't need to run them over and flatten them, but you do need to be challenging enough to inspire them for their next speech. Your conclusions should summarize all of your comments and suggestions, but also remember, positive and encouraging. Remember to create a positive, supportive environment while you're evaluating. And please avoid using negative words like, "That was wrong," or "You made a mistake," or "You failed," or "You should have." Those are not empowering phrases. And fifth, give an empowering speech evaluation. It's, after all, really a motivational, inspirational speech, kind of like the one that's number 10 in the CC manual. But remember, a speech evaluation is your opinion at the moment, on the day, for the speech that's been given. And it's entirely subjective. It's your opinion. No apologies while you're giving a speech evaluation. "I'm sorry, but" is not something that needs to be in a speech evaluation. I recommend practicing synonyms. You could say something is awesome, awesome, awesome. Or you could say something is astonishing, or formidable, or stunning, or wondrous, or magnificent. Practice synonyms for your speech evaluation. Eliminate any jargon, like jargon, from your speech. And remember, you're not only empowering the speaker, but empower the audience at the same time. I'll leave you with some evaluation hints, since I made a suggestion about there are always, always, always some helpful hints, so I'm leaving you with a list of helpful hints. And just remember the F mode when you're doing a speech evaluation, and you can't help but give magnificent, memorable, and highly effective speech evaluations. Mr.